The Eric McKenna Project was formed in March of 2019 by Pittsburgher Eric McKenna. The project is free-form and unscripted, with discussions that are unvarnished and purely authentic. Additionally, each engagement is professionally filmed and recorded at Eric's Boogie Street Studio, located in Moon Township, Pennsylvania. Guests are by invitation only and come from all walks of life. Discussion topics include business and entrepreneurship, science, art, music and film, comedy, and other entertainment disciplines. Eric's biography includes Pittsburgh Realty agent, radio broadcaster, speaker, and guitarist. Additionally, Eric is the founder of Boogie Street Guitars, a guitar design and marketing firm which has worked with most notably Dimebag Darrell and Kiss legend Paul Stanley. Since 2023, the Eric McKenna Project podcast is exclusively presented by the Cozza Law Group, Pittsburgh's premier business attorneys.
Man, it feels so good not to have to do anything. There's just I can go out and I don't have to worry. I'm not tethered to my phone. It's awesome.
I know, but that was a showcase for all your photography.
Yeah, according to the people that looked at my stuff, you suck. My photography sucks.
Well, the internet's a joke. I mean, that's.
But here's what's cool about that, and I don't know if you started this or not, but check it out. I have 3.
You're red on there, right?
Yeah, I'm red on there. I have 3 photos one photo for 3 months, separate photos. I was published in Digital Camera World magazine.
Oh, get on.
For like April, May, and June, and they featured 3 different photos for whatever.
Well, how did that happen? They just observed your stuff?
I just submitted them to like exhibitions, and they picked them for I think one was landscape, one was black and white, and one was flowers.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you. But I mean, I like laughed because I'm like, oh, I got the first one. I'm like, oh, this is the greatest thing. And then I got 2 months in a row. I'm like, oh, this is awesome. And then the third one, I totally didn't even expect. It was like, this, and it's what I had done was I had taken they're color photos, of course, but I made them look like old Ansel Adams, black and whites. And I went to Yosemite, and I found a different one that was, similar to my color one.
Yeah.
And then I just cropped it out a little bit, or I caught it more of a tree on the side, just give it some depth. And I liked it. So I made it look old,
Yeah, of course.
And I did that. And I said, you know what? I'm going to go around and do the other parts of the park.
Okay.
Like that. Well, while we still have it, because they're going to sell it off to oil guys.
No, they just said. You see, they pulled that out of the bill today.
Oh, good. And so
thanks to Rogan and those guys.
So I went and I took the other ones, and I made them like old grainy, because I dig the black and white. I always did.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
And so I submitted it, and never in a million years did I think that it was anything.
Isn't that how it always happens?
Like, yeah, and it won. It was like there was like a grand prize, second place, and then mine was like the big blow up honorable mention.
Right on.
And then there was like 10 other little baby honorable mentions. But I dug it. I mean, dude, I'm like, and I never expected it. It's
That's when it's always the best.
Out of the blue. And then I've got 2 of them coming up here in the end of July that will hang at, one's on digital. They have like TV shows, or not TV shows. They have like a TV showing, like digital photos from everybody.
Oh, that's cool.
But I have one that's going to hang. Actually, they print it out and hang it on the wall. There's like 30 of them that hang out of thousands. And so I got picked for that. So I have 2 of them in Bridgeport, and I have 1 of them coming up at the end of August that'll hang in Philadelphia.
That's close.
Yeah, so I'm going to go to both of them. I'm going to go
because I've never been. Too.
I'm going to go to Bridgeport because I've never.
The highfalutin people up there.
Oh yeah, down there by the White Sox. I can't even think of the
Not the
ballpark.
White Sox, the Red Sox. Fenway,
Wait,
right?
it's White Sox in Chicago.
Yeah, McKaminsky. That's a dangerous part of Chicago down there.
South side of Chicago.
Oh, yeah, it's a tough
Willie
it's
G
tough.
area down there by
tough.
Gary, Indiana.
It's a tough, it's a tough spot.
But so yeah, I'm all excited. I'm gonna go check it out, and we'll see what happens. You know, I mean, it's so. I mean, I lost the social media aspect of it, but I still get.
But you don't miss the social media aggravation.
Oh my God, no, not at all. Try it, people. Try it. You can do it. Be strong. No, man, it's great, and I just, you know, I don't have to get emails or DMs, you know, about. I need tickets.
Yeah, it's an occupational hazard for you.
Well, that's what it was. And it started out fine. You know, I didn't want social media to begin with, and we've talked about this. And then somebody on my crew they made a profile for me. And it's just like, hey, what's your email? You know, hey, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, I give them my... And the next thing I know, I've got
I think I remember that. Weren't you playing baseball with your mom or some kind of game or something?
I was sitting poolside.
Oh, didn't you have the only reason you joined Facebook was to play some kind of game?
So that was Facebook because we had so Instagram was like totally somebody just made one, and I'm trying to explain. They're like, you have a social media profile? I'm like, no, I don't have one. You lying son of a bitch, it's right here. I'm like, what the fuck are you? And they're laughing. They're sitting beside me. They made a social media, and I didn't even know about it. So I kept that. So it goes on and on and on. And here I am, you know, a year later, and, you know, it was, you know, okay, so now I got it, you know, and it's caused all kinds of problems. So I might as well just keep it. And then Megadeth goes, hey, we want you to answer fan questions. And I'm like, so that's where Fred of Death Official came in. That was because it was Fred of Death.
I wondered where
Fred of Death Official
that handle popped up from.
Was the just Megadeth question. And I was just like, this is...
Couldn't you just cancel that profile and keep the others?
I thought about it, but here's what's happening. The nuts are finding me I did one just for photography.
I remember.
Just for photography.
Yeah, Fred Kowalo photography.
And I said, all I'm going to do is post my photos. And I did. And that's all.
You did.
But it bled over. The fans, what do you got 2 of them for? Now, what do you got 3 of them for? I don't have 3. I do. They're combined together, you know. So that was when we were off a tour, you know, I just started putting my photography on Fred of Death Official, you know, because I think my photography had like a couple hundred people, but Fred of Death Official had like 5,000. You know, and that's a decent amount for somebody that doesn't like social media. You know what I mean? 5,000 people. You know, what's he going to say today? You know, so I did it, but I wouldn't post all the time, and then it just. You know, there was no concerts, there was no nothing. So again, I put the photography there because I was just learning. And they just melted together. But what had happened is the nuts started coming out of the woodwork. And it's just like, you know, hey, man, can I get some tickets to the show? And I'm like, nah.
Can I have a guitar pick, Fred?
Dude, yeah. Some of these requests were like off the wall. And then you say no, and they're like, you know,
they'll destroy you online.
Oh yeah, right? And it's just like, you're a heartless son. You know, I hope you get a car crash. I mean, really, come on, man. And, you know, it's like, I know you can do it. You're Nicky's tech. I mean, no, yeah, I'm his tech, but I don't control. Can you get me and my 20 friends in meet and greet? No, I can't. And, you know, we know where you live. We're going to come for it. Somebody actually sent me my address saying, we know where you live. But guess what? It was the wrong address. But, you know, it was an address that I lived at. You know, previous, and it's just like, you know, we know, it's just like, well, you know, thank goodness those, you know, look up your friend, you know, look up this guy's.
What they call it, Truth Finder.
Yeah, whatever. So it gets like an old address where I used to live. But I mean, if they're doing that, I'm like, you know what, I'm just not dealing with this shit anymore, and I just got rid of it. So then you get rid of it. Well, why are you getting rid of it? What do you have to hide? What do you have to hide? What are you hiding from? Who are you talking to? I know you got a different one. I'm like, no, actually, I don't. I'm very peaceful, and I'm enjoying myself, and nobody's bothering me. Nobody's asking me for stupid shit, except for, why do I have to get rid of my social media? What do I have to hide? It was great one time because I got hacked. And somebody, and then I just started showing back up online, and people are like calling me, going, "Hey, dude," and I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And there it is. They're showing me somebody put how they signed in to my, and I'm like,
idea.
was not me.
Or they clone your account.
Well, and I'm just like, you know what? I think burn it all to the ground, man, because it's like, I saw you online. No, actually, I'm not. I'm working.
Well, the thing is, okay, so I knew you. I knew you for a long time, but when we first started working together, it was 2002 ish. Social was not here.
Yeah.
MySpace wasn't until 2005.
Yeah.
We weren't really invested that much in there.
No,
so
I was on it for like 2
those
days.
were wonderful times. Like, I mean, you had like a buffer. And I was thinking about one of the times we had never gotten a negative feedback ever, and we prided ourselves on that. And I remember we would call customers from the road. I mean, if you bought something from Boogie Street, we were always accessible. We had this one unhinged guy, and it happened to me when you were traveling. So I was there with my kid, 2006 or something. And this guy from a trailer park, and nothing wrong with trailer parks, but I'm giving you the scenario. He was so unhinged. He was like threatening my family. He knew where I was, and he was a member of the Hells Angels, and he's going to send someone down there and get me and all this to me. I was like gorked out of my brain because I didn't know what was real and what wasn't real.
Yeah.
Thank goodness, knock on wood, it never happened again. I went to the state police barracks with my kid, and the guy's like, "This is the internet, you know that, right?" And I'm like, "Well, I mean, he knows where I'm at."
Yeah.
And he is like, the cop's like, "Well, there's not a lot we can do."
Yeah.
So but yeah, but we wouldn't. Again, we were lucky we didn't deal with a lot of that shit.
No,
but we started before all that nonsense.
Well, that's exactly it. And I mean, we had a question and answer forum, but it just got
we
so
had
many.
our own forum.
Yeah, it just got so hectic on the road, and
It was impossible.
me, I talked forever. I'll talk.
No, but only that. I mean, remember you were having all the connectivity problems because the internet was slow.
Oh, yeah. The dial-up.
Yeah, especially when you're from the road.
Oh yeah, you get to the hotel.
The one time you did gork me out though, because we had always had connectivity issues, always. And here you were. I swear to God, I think you were somewhere in South America, some country down there, and you did a Apple FaceTime, and I never had an Apple phone. But it was on my iMac. My iMac started ringing, like making a noise. I'm like, what is this? Well, Fred was doing from your MacBook laptop to my iMac.
Yeah.
You were doing a FaceTime. I'm like, this is amazing.
Yeah, that's.
And I'm looking, and you're turning the laptop around, and it looked like, I'm sure it wasn't, but it looked like it was at least 720p. It looked really flipping clear.
Yeah.
That was a big breakthrough. It was 2009, I think.
That's and that's when I went to, because I was a Sony guy forever. And then you need to get a Mac so you can FaceTime with everybody. And so I went and got a Mac, and I'm like, this is the greatest thing in the world.
I know. That was amazing.
You know what's great is my mom just got an iPhone, and she's like, oh no, I've got whatever.
So she's had Google all this time.
Yeah, and then she gets an iPhone, and now she's like, I don't know. I'm like, it's the easiest thing in the world. I was resistant as well, but now it's just, and now I think she's doing all right because it was the same thing with her. I can see you why. It's just like, it's called FaceTime. It's called FaceTime.
I'm afraid to convert my mom from Google to Apple for that exact reason. Everywhere, I need you to look at this.
Yeah, that's.
And you feel bad not answering, right? I don't need the guilt. Oh, shit. Before we go down a more philosophical bent here, we have a limited time with you tonight. Update, you're out with Testament, right?
I just got home. I got home. Literally, I get home. I go to work. And he goes, did you come in and do a podcast? I'm like, I got to work. He goes, well, what about tomorrow? I'm like, I got to work. So I came in after work. And and here I am. And I took a shower. And I've only been up since, 4:30, 5 o'clock this morning. But here we are.
I don't have to do that anymore. It's great.
But I wouldn't miss it for the world.
Okay.
And
Testament was a blast.
Testament was a blast.
You've known Alec for a long time.
I've known Alex for a long time.
Long time.
And here's the fun thing about Testament, and we giggle about it. when I was a kid on the radio, like in college, Chuck, Billy, the singer for Testament, and Eric Christensen was the bass player. They gave me my first radio IDs.
Oh, get out.
And they're like, hey, you're listening to Fred on FM 92, blah, blah, WVCS. And I thought it was always the coolest thing in the world. And I'd see them, from time to time at show. And they were always nice, And then I become a guitar tech, and I'd see him there, And Alex, he has his jazz trio, and he's phenomenal, And he knew friends of mine, so it was, we would always run into each other. But I'd never worked for Testament. I'd see him on the road, and they were always so nice. I mean, the nicest guys in the world, nicest band in the world, And to get a chance, because Motley's off the road, and and I was doing musical theater for the past 6 months, rock shows and musical theater, 6 months of Broadway, and
Fabulous.
it was fabulous, and I got a phone call and said, hey, look, Testament wants needs somebody. You interested? I'm like, yeah. So I get a phone call and says, well, here you're home. I'm like, yeah. Would you come out? I'm like, yeah, I'll do it. They could have offered me $1. And I would have been like, you know what? I've had enough of Broadway. Because I come home and I go.
You're humming show tunes.
Yeah, I'm sitting there with show tunes in my, and it's just like, and I did like Life of Pi. What was it? Kimberly Akimbo, which are great, but Annie was in, and I'm like, stop it. So, and it's just, it's just like a funny girl. And I'm like all these like classic and new thing, and I'm just like, oh my God, I don't want to be in the room where it happened anymore. It's just like, and I'm like, every little thing for me was like a show tune reference. And I'm like, oh my God, I got to get out of here. And they're like, would you like to come out? And I'm like, yes. Why, yes, I would. I would love to come out on the road. And it was a quick U.S. run. And here's me. I don't like to go out with cats that, I knew these guys, but, and it's new technology. Who hates new technology? This guy. And they had like these, like quad core things. They're great.
And what do you mean? What is that?
It's like a little computer generated digital. It's like a digital amp, and like programmable. Get your sound. I hate those things.
But Alex was into that.
Everybody has one because it's the easiest thing to do now. They're about this big.
You throw them in a briefcase.
Throw them in a rack and you're done. And you can just throw them in a.
Can't blame them now.
But that's everybody's got them now. Yeah. I just saw Buck Cherry the other day. They all had them, and it's just like, man, and it's the easiest thing in the world. But I don't know anything about those things.
Well,
and I'm just
on the job training.
And that's what it was. And it's just like, man.
But now you do.
No, I wouldn't say that. I can fake really well. And so, but I mean, it was great. And I worked with Eric Peterson, and I'd always known, like, I'd always talked to, like, Chuck or Alex and I never really sat down and talked to Eric. This guy can play his ass off. He's like a riff master. And I told him, I said, dude, you blew me away every night. Just watching him, just.
That's cool. Huh?
And it's great to actually see somebody. It's just like, wow, he wrote the riffs. He's and he's up there shredding every night. And he's the nicest cat. No, he's the quietest one. But he was like the nicest guy in the world. And it's just like, I could work with somebody like that because I'm used to cats that are like yelling and screaming, and not Nicky or anything like that, but like old guys, old bands. and that's why I always say,
you don't say.
Yeah. And, so, but, working with these guys, like I said, Motley's a breath of fresh air. That's my retirement gig. And I went out with these guys and I'm like, this is great too. And what's cool about that is it went back to, I'm back with a cool crew. We're on the bus together. It's just like, this is great.
That's how it used to be.
And that's what's awesome about it is and then, like we broke down in Arizona, like 2 hours from anywhere, like out in the Arizona desert. Nobody was upset. They'll come get us. We'll be fine. It was total chill.
So it was a U.S. leg, right? But how'd you end up in Australia?
It was a U.S. leg. It was a month in U.S. And then, again, if you want me to go out on the road, you got to offer me something cool. a place I've never been, or Australia.
Or Australia.
I'll go to Australia.
Frank and Gus.
And I saw them down there.
Yeah, I know you did.
I went down
love seeing. I love
saw them. They
I
came up
love
to-
seeing you do that. That's
Oh,
amazing.
And I surprised them. I'm like, because again, man, as I'm getting older, my time management is really, really bad because I'm always doing. And I'm like, I got to call Frank. I'll call him later. And then it's like the next day, I'll call. I got to call Frank. I forgot. Oh, I got to call Frank. I forgot. So I call him like the day before. Hey man, I'm in your town. I send him a text.
Of
And
course.
he's like, where?
He would expect nothing else.
Yeah, it's like, but that's just it, man. Because it's like, and what was fun again was just being focused on guitars.
Yeah.
And it's been a while since I did a guitar. And
bass heavy.
because I've been doing basses,
Yep.
and I actually had fun playing guitar, like just sitting around. They're like, "Hey, play something for me." I'm like, I can't play it. I'm not a guitar player, and I like whipping the Seasons
Back in
into
Black.
Seasons in the Abyss. I'm like, and they're like, "You said you can't play." I'm like, "That's the only riff I know."
That's a good one, though.
But yeah, it's a fun riff to play. But I like, I had my basic Spinal Tap. Tonight we're going to rock it. I've been playing that for years, and but it was fun to play guitar again, and just getting back to. I'm like, I remember when I used to be able to do a Floyd Rose and just look at it, and I looked at it, and I'm like, it's a lot of work, but
It's
I'm going to
still in there.
And it came out and it was level, and I was like, I still got it, It's just like I sit around, and I was like giggling. It was fun though to do guitars again, and because I hadn't done a guitar, I've been doing basses forever,
Right.
And that's all I had to do.
Yeah.
And it's just like go in, do a couple basses. It takes you 15 minutes to change 4 strings. On a couple basses. It's like zip 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 zip. Oh, done. And
Wow.
But guitars and Floyd Roses, I sit there and I nitpick. I still nitpick. I'm like, and
I remember.
they all have to be level. The tuning pit. And then I sit there and I just go back and forth till it's perfect. And it kind of it was kind of fun. It occupied my time, and I'm like, at least I'm not singing show tunes. And I ended up singing like Testament tunes the whole time. It's just like, oh man, I remember
more
this.
your speed.
I remember, and I'm like back in the day when like I said, I was on the radio, and
Yeah.
I remember seeing these cats when I was a
Oh, I
kid,
remember.
and they were young too.
I remember, I want to say, what was the first album in the early 90s?
Legacy,
It had
or
like,
Souls of Black.
there was a circle, and in the graphic, and there was these little, like, oh man, they were blowing, each little like gremlin was blowing like a skeleton cloud or something. Some really cool
I see.
imagery. I can remember when I was a kid, because this guy I was sitting next to at this company, this little metalhead, and he would show me, look at his Testament, and I'm like, oh, okay. And it had a really cool graphic on the front. That's all I remember was that. What was it?
They had. Let's look them up. I'll give you.
Yeah.
All right. So this is,
I remember the album cover. And then years later, I have a customer, a Boogie Street customer in Pittsburgh, John Fedluck here. He had a BC Rich.
Oh, yeah.
And Zilch ended up opening up for them, I think, late 2000s or something. And I have a picture of later in some bar in Pittsburgh where John's playing one of our one of our Bernie Rico guitars.
yeah.
I still had that photo.
So here they are. The New Order, Souls of Black, which is
I think that's it.
the
That's
practice
one.
what you preach.
Show me the album cover.
Oh,
Souls of Black.
Souls of Black. It's there's no, you can't see the album cover. Let's see here. There it is with all like the little dudes and
No, that's not it. What's the one before that?
it's just the one with the world. Oh, it's kind of like a skeleton in the background with the earth.
That's it.
And that was the new order. And then practice what you preach, and then the legacy and Titans of Creation. But you know what? It was fun because they did the
Were they formed out of? I mean, Alex played with.
I guess these cats are all played together.
I'm
from
kind of
the beginning.
confused. Like, so John Sykes, Chris Olivia was the guitarist
that's
who died.
Savatage.
That said it.
That's
But the
Savatage.
members of Savatage end up forming Testament?
No, they formed TSO.
I know that. That I know.
No,
and Chris never saw it. But
Testament's
that's a shame of it. Like, you know what I mean?
Testament's a whole different animal.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So there's bleed over there. Some of the members of Testament ended up playing for TSO.
No, oh, Alex went
Alex
to TSO.
did.
Yeah,
Okay.
and we actually talked about that.
Okay.
We were at dinner one day. But yeah, Alex went over because he's just an all around great guitar player.
Yeah, no,
so,
you think?
So he had a little bit, huh? But he went over and he did TSO for a bit, and that was before I got there.
Yeah.
And we were talking about that. But yeah, Testament, man, back in the day, I remember going to see him. I remember seeing him with Slayer.
Yeah, it goes early 90s, I think, right?
Late 80s.
Ooh,
yeah.
wow. Okay.
And
Okay.
So
We're old, Fred.
yeah, we're really old. And they did like what was it? Practice with you. I can't even remember how many years it was, whatever. But it's been a long time since that album, and it's just like, holy hell! I remember.
Well, so obviously we all know, anyone who's been following you knows that Motley's a very tightly run ship, and everyone's on lockdown for information and everything else. So I'm not asking you to violate that. But as far as you know, your plan is to eventually go back with them when they restart.
When they restart, I'm
Yeah.
going to go back out. So I've been just like doing fill-in gigs.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Doing some movies here, TV shows.
Okay. All right. So, our right turn, I promised you I would throw you a curveball tonight. So I've been having podcasts, a lot of panel shows too, especially, and talking about regret, the concept of regret. And now that I got your undivided attention, I want to ask you this loaded question. Like, first off, do you have any kind of regrets? If you do, how do you deal with them? And do you spend time analyzing and thinking about them?
What the hell? Everybody's got regrets, even if they say they don't. Yeah, I got regrets. I mean, I talk about regrets a lot, like in interviews and shit like that. Yeah, I've missed entire people's lives. You know what I mean? It's you're on the road. That's what you focus on. And I probably regret all the money I spent over time.
That's honest.
And I regret missing birthday parties and holidays and funerals and weddings and shit like that. But you can't let it dwell, because what I was doing, if you ask me, it was for the better good of
My
everybody.
OCD's killing me. Turn that.
Yeah, start
Line me up. No, the other direction.
what, that way?
Line me up good. No, turn it. Great. Thank you, Fred. I see my name sideways. It's like my brain goes haywire.
But yeah, so there's been a lot of regrets, things I missed, things I did. But again, at the time, when you think about it, it's like this is for the greater good, and you have to block that out, and that's how you have to look at it, and that's kind of how I approach a lot of things in life.
Do you give yourself grace for your mistakes?
No, I'm the hardest guy there is. I live with it, and I know
forever, or do you eventually find a way to?
I've never gotten over regrets. I store them away, and every once in a while they'll come out. And but I wouldn't be where I'm at if I didn't stick to my guns, and that's not going to change. Everybody, you got such a hard head, and I never gave in. I never quit. So, it got me here, but at what cost? Everybody's still alive. Everybody's still kicking.
Isn't that kind of subjective too?
And I do. It was me thinking I'm doing right. For everybody. Everybody still benefits from my grief. My regret. But nobody seems to look at it like that. That's how somebody's going to say, "Oh, that's a asinine way to think about it." But it's it needed to be done. And I went in and I did everything I said I was going to do. Mm-hmm. And you got to know, that's the price. That's the price you pay. And you know, again, everybody's benefit in some way. And that's how I look at it. That's how I justify it. You know, maybe I missed a birthday, maybe I missed a holiday, maybe I missed a wedding, you know, stuff like that. But everybody else benefited because there was presents. There was, you know, people dancing. You know, that's me that missed it. You know what I mean? And it's one of those things, man. It's just, there's been times where you know, you didn't get to say goodbye to somebody or whatever, and they die. Or that's regret. But, you know, it's also life. And what I had learned to do is one of the hardest things it is, you just turn it off. And, yeah, I feel it. I sit inside and you know, I have all these regrets. And I don't bitch about them. I just go on, do the next thing because that's the only thing you can do. I have them, and you know, maybe someday I'll have a nervous breakdown and have to come to terms with it. But right now, I work 24/7 to keep busy, to keep to keep from thinking about that. You know, I mean, that you just turn it off. Like when you have to go on the road and your dog's looking at you and they know you're gone. You just got to go. You know, it's one of those things. I once had a dog, and this is one of my regrets. And the dog went out and stood in front of my suitcase as I was walking, and he laid down in front of my suitcase. He was an old dog, and I got a picture of him. I scratched him, and he just didn't want me to go, and he died when I was gone. You know, and it's just like one of those things. You know, and it's just like he died the day before I came back. And it was just like, man, if I could just, you know. But, you know, I mean, and it's a dog, but it's still part of your family. And it's just like, man, you know, because they don't know where you go. They don't know. Of course. They don't know what you do. And I found that in
their mind, you're never coming back.
Yeah. And I found that a dog was more traumatizing than anything else, you know. And, you know, but, yeah, I mean, how you deal with it is you just plod through, man. And people say, "Oh, that's cold," or "That's, you know, insensitive." No, it's not. It's what you have to do. You know, it's.
I just think there's always been a fine line between responsibility and selfishness.
Yeah, you know, but here's the thing: people go, "Oh, you're selfish." No, I'm actually not. You're benefiting.
It's a very unclear definition.
Yeah.
That's a very subjective definition. It pretty much goes to the person inflicting the word.
Well, that's exactly it. And
right?
I've heard it from every different, because they think out on the road, it's a great fun time. It's not. It's business. It's work. You know, oh, you're out drinking. Yeah, I drink because I miss everybody, you know, and I don't even do that anymore. It's all business now. You know, I've come to that whole, this is a business. And this is why I've had, you know, longevity in this business.
There's
no
question.
But man, you're alone, and man, you know, I know you're out there fucking around. No, actually, I'm not. You know what I mean? I go back to my room, and if I'm not answering the phone, it's because I'm sleeping.
Is that why photography arose in your life, you think?
Well, here's the thing with that is, photography gave me a little outlet, because at one point, I'd gotten to the point where I've seen all these places. I don't want to go out again. And I'm sitting in my room dwelling on regret and dealing with it myself. And with photography, I was like, you know what? I want to take a better picture of this. You know, I remember this place. So I started going back out and doing, and even on the Motley tour, I had to force myself to go out and do it. And then I started going and doing things that I'd never seen. I'd never seen Yosemite. I'd never seen a real killer whale. My lip is itching. But I'd never seen a real killer whale. So I was out there doing it and, you know, taking photos of that. And then it's just like, man, there's like nature photos and then there's all, so it became an outlet. It became something to deal with. So I don't sit in the hotel room, you know, with regret. Because everybody, like, you're selfish, you know, it's like, no, not really. You know,
I think the word gets thrown around a lot in society that really, it's misapplied, quite frankly.
Yeah, exactly. But, yeah, man, I mean, they're you know,
do you spend any time worrying about, I think I know the answer to this question. Let me ask you this. When somebody would say something inflammatory 30 years ago, the way you dealt with it then, and then 10 years in, then 20 years in, 30 years in now, has it changed?
Not for
Does
me.
it hit you differently, or is your response differently?
Man, this is what's been fun, man. I don't care. I don't care. I know this is something I always tell people: know your worth, and you guys can talk smack all you want. That just means I'm.
Now my OCD's really
See, look
flared
at
up,
this.
buddy. Great job. Perfect. Perfect.
Yeah. All right. So, after all this time, people used to talk shit all the time back then. I was like, I got the gig. My work is the best I can do, and I used to tell people, I do the best for.
It does the talking for you, though. Right?
Exactly. I do the best for the guy, here in Pittsburgh, as I would for somebody out on the road. I'd do for Zach Wild or Nikki Sixx or whoever.
Right.
And I still do it like that. And everybody would talk. Everybody would have something to say, and I just let it go. It's still like that now, 30 years later.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if they're talking about you, that's good, because there's no such thing as but keep talking, and that's exactly it. I still get the good gigs. I still do a great job.
Yep.
And I have fun. Again, Motley brought the fun back out in it for me. Buck Cherry brought the fun.
Certainly.
And going to see, I made a whole. Because remember, I took years off. I was just like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to talk about
Well, the pandemic didn't help either.
Yeah, that was, But the thing is, I didn't want to do it anymore. And all of a sudden, it came back. And when it did, the phone started ringing. And I'm like, And then I started getting like more different opportunities with other bands that I was fans of. I really didn't know, but I've hung out with them, talk. And I had a blast. And then the Motley thing came, and that's my retirement gig. And then, Limp Bizkit, who I loved.
You got to be a confetti tech for a little period.
I was confetti tech. Well, that was the thing. That was my retirement. I'm like, I'm never going back to guitar tech. And then they called me for Nikki Sixx. I'm like, yeah, so much for being a confetti guy. And but yeah, I mean, I regret not being a confetti guy still. No, but let them talk. And that's what's funny is, even before I was a tech, I really don't care. You either like me or you hate me. There's no in between. And do I care? Not really. If you don't want to, because I don't do anything wrong to anybody. At least in my mind. You can ask me. You're you son of a bitch. I hate you. And it just, but you go down the line, and again, you're benefiting.
Wouldn't you agree that being away and being on tour and being mobile all the time probably helps you not sit and dwell as much, right?
Well, that was the thing is, I sit and I work my ass off, so there's no dwelling.
Right.
But lately, I've been dwelling. You know what I mean? And it just you sit there in a hotel with time off. And it's just like,
is that dangerous?
Yeah, it's real dangerous. And the thing is, it wasn't dangerous when I drank, because you're right, I'm having fun, I'm with the guys, blah, blah, blah. Now when you're like trying to do it sober, because it's a business, you sit around and it's just like, man, and it's just,
So do you find yourself spending money? Do you find yourself overeating? I mean, what's your vice?
Well, the vice has become editing photos. I'll sit there all night.
So you get addicted to it.
Oh, my God.
It is addicting.
And it's just like, this one's got to be better than the last one.
Because the creativity element.
Well, and that's what I found. That's what I found.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it's that creative. I used to write short stories. When I was young, I played in the band, wrote songs. Now I don't got a band. I write songs anymore. So, you start doing different things. I started writing short stories. I sat there, I destroyed most of them. It's like, who wants to read this crap, And from what I understand, the people that did said they were good. Yeah. I don't know. And
isn't there still a book out there, Fred?
Somewhere, man, somewhere. I've been talking about it.
Never gonna let that go,
Yeah, and so then the photography thing came along, and now I found. I mean, I went to school to be a director, and with the photography thing, it's on my terms. And
it's very personal,
and I can see, and there's things that I like, and there's things that I can see, and I can create. And, I take a wide picture and make a beautiful landscape out of it, and it just, you can find that one little thing that catches your eye and make it beautiful.
When you're shooting a show, does it give you a different perspective on your work? Because you can view it from a different angle or a different...
Yeah, and I can anticipate, and, if because I just, I got off the plane and went and shot Buck Cherry the other day. And because they were playing like Westmoreland County, and you get home, and you're like sitting there going, "Hey, we're in your town. You want to come out and shoot?" Yeah, I just flew to the airport for 33 hours, and I'm playing for yeah. And I didn't tell them. I just showed up. Yeah, here I'm already. And it's like you look terrible. I'm like, yeah. Just flew in from Perth. Boy, are my arms tired, And it's just like, man, what are you doing? You're nuts.
So where did you go in Australia this round?
We did the normal
Sydney, Melbourne.
Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne, Adelaide, Perth.
And Adelaide and Perth are on the west side. Right?
Adelaide's in the middle on the bottom. They're all coastal cities, but Adelaide's in the middle. It goes. The little.
Is there anything in the central portion of the continent?
A desert.
Is there any cities? Is there any?
I really don't think so. There's because it's a desert. It's like really remote and it's huge.
Is it a desert like?
It's a desert.
Optically, like what Death Valley is.
I don't know. I've never been there, but I think it is. It's got like some kind of rock in the middle of it, like some mystic rock.
Frank, if you're listening, Frank. Gus, give us a more detailed explanation of that. I always love when you get a chance to see those two down there. I mean, Frank has been with us. Oh my God,
years and years.
Frank and I, we almost got off on a really bad. We got off on a bad foot because of me. I had an issue that day with another artist and a couple of customers. The artist was promising I was going to do things for. And I got jacked off bad. And I ended up taking it out on Frank. No. And I had just all Frank was doing was contacting me because he was interested in maybe buying a couple of cars. Heaven forbid buying some guitars, but apparently and I had to go back and really eat crow. And and again, I'm probably butchering the story, but I know I did not get off on the right foot with Frank, and it was 100% my fault. One of the very few times that I've treated a customer horribly, and it was unintentional, but not good. So Frank always gave me the benefit of the doubt, and look what he's been like part of our little crew. Forever. Yeah. From the beginning.
Forever. So it's always good to get on and see him. I've seen his collection down there. I've been to the house, and
as part of that collection went bye-byes with the guitar player from Sweden. Is it Sweden or Norway? Sweden. Oh, I can't believe I can't remember this. It's on the tip.
I can't remember his real name.
It begins with an O, I think.
Now you got me on that one.
Ola, England. My apologies, Frank. But Ola went down into Frank's house and bought some of his guitars.
Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah. I think the Boogie Bowl went bye-bye, I think.
Oh.
Or something. They're one of the Southern Crosses. I don't know. Don't quote me there. But anyways, but I guess my overall point was I wanted to really know how you managed. I mean, I understand how you manage negativity and all that, but like when you have moments of quiet time, which I'm going to guess there's a lot of solitary time in the work you do.
Yeah.
The travel and so forth.
Well, that's exactly it. You get to a hotel and everybody's like, well, it's got to be great. You're out partying. No, man, I'm sitting by myself
drudgery,
in a room.
Right?
Yeah. I sit in my room and that's what keeps me sane is
literally. So how do you, but my question, can the mind really, if you don't have another diversion, can the mind really fuck you up?
It can. And one of the fun things that see, man, I don't go to like therapy. I don't go to shit like that. But
no, you play guitar, Fred. Of course you don't go to therapy. But none of us go to therapy.
But but I have like the scientific. I like to think that
you have a guitar, Fred.
I like to think that I have like a scientific mind. Like when I got COVID, I literally like watched myself and timed myself on how long it took for my lungs to fill up with phlegm. You know what I mean? but I sit around and I analyze myself. It's just like, this is this, and this is the reason for this, and this is, so you know how to do it, ignore it, treat it, do it like this, get out of this funk. I've been in some major funk, and, sometimes you can't get yourself out of it, but there's a lot of sitting and thinking, and you have to, and I kind of like concentrating. I guess you could call it meditating, because but I don't know if that's really the right thing, what I do, but I concentrate on what's going to happen and how can I make it happen, and, what's my next move after that. Literally, I willed a Motley Crue gig, and it's just, I said that when I was a kid. One day I'm gonna work for Motley Crue.
That's manifestation. I think there's something to that.
There is something to it. There's a lot of stuff to it. I believe in it, 100%. But that's what I do. I sit around, and when I get in that funk, what's going to happen when I get out of this? And literally, I'll sit in a dark room and just think. I've learned to look inward. I don't know any. Yeah. I don't know where the reason is from it, or it's not any Western religion or whatever Eastern religion that I thought of. That I study. I just sat there and just one day by myself saying, "What's your next move? What are you going to do? How do you want to get out of this funk? What's going to take you to that next level? Or what's your next adventure? Because I've done everything I said I was going to do. And it's just like what's next? And it's just like, in me, I was like, I'll just throw it to the wind.
Do you write?
I used to, and I don't. I don't do it anymore. The photography's taken that space.
Got it.
Now that was the other thing. The writing. I still got some stories, that I have laying around. But on the road, I'm finding more of a release from the photography than what I used to get from writing. Writing, and I got to be honest with this, I'm a Hemingway. I had to get wasted. I'd sit there and it would come pouring out, because maybe that's the only way I can let that release go. And that's the depression. That's the regret. That's the, but you see, when
is that healthy?
No, the drinking. The thing was, I didn't get hangovers, and I still don't.
That's dangerous,
and that's real dangerous when you're me. And it's like, let's throw another lamp out the window. Let's have fun. Come on. And again, just so it's
funny to you,
funny to me. And I lived my whole life probably into my 40s, 50s, just so it's funny to me. And it wasn't funny for everybody else. There's no regrets, but that's where when I sit down and I would write, and it would come off as it wasn't me. It was like my characters were like looking through the eyes of somebody else. Mm-hmm. And I remember sitting there writing, and this woman goes, "Are you a writer?" She was on the plane, and I said, "I'm just writing."
Are you a writer?
And the thing was, is I get on the plane, I get hammered because I was afraid of flying, and so I just start writing. And she goes, "You mind if I?" And I'm like, "I really don't let anybody."
That's courage.
She's like, "Oh,
that's
I'm sorry, I just." I said, "You know what? You want to read it? Here." I said, "Yeah." And how I write, I'll write either the ending or the beginning, and then the middle. So it's one or the other. And I had written the beginning, and I was writing the ending, and I knew what I wanted in the middle. So this woman starts reading on a plane, and you got to look at me. I got a nasty black, gray beard, long hair, sitting there. I smell like booze because if I'm writing, I'm drinking, and I'm on a plane. I got my leather jacket on, and I'm probably going out to like a Megadeth run or something like that out California. Because if I'm on a plane writing, that's how I got by. I was afraid of flying, and drinking and writing. That's what got me through. And this woman starts reading, and she's reading the end of a story that I haven't even written yet. I just know how it ends. And she looks at me. She starts crying, and she goes, "You wrote this?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah." And she goes, I just saw you write this." She goes, "Why?" Because I knew how it ended. And she's like, why? Why does it end like that? She goes, where's the rest of them? I haven't written it yet. You know, I just know how I want it to end. It was like this tragic, and it wasn't tragic. It was beautiful. If you ask me, it was beautiful. And she's crying on the plane. She goes, that's beautiful. She goes, this is you. And she's like looking at me going, you wrote this? And I'm like, yeah, you kind of, yeah. And it's just like, you know, and then I filled in the gaps and sometimes I'll let people like read excerpts of it, you know, and people are like, you wrote this? I'm like, yeah. Right. They like look at me. But yeah, I've written short stories. I've written poetry. I've written, you know, kind of long stories. And they've been trying to get me to write stories about the road. But that's where the problem is. I'm not drunk. You know what I mean? I'm not drinking. I just can't sit around. And I used to tell the stories all the time. And I can't even find myself telling the stories anymore. It's just like, I've told them 10,000 times, you know, and just, you know, it became like not wanting to play your hit song. Yeah. Because, and that's what it is. You know, I've told them so many times and it's just like, oh man. And,
so maybe when your time comes that you do retire, when you do step away from it, you think a period of years will go by and maybe you'll get that clarity to maybe put it all down cohesively?
Well, what I'm finding now is I'm old. I'm forgetting shit. And the stories are there.
That's why you probably need to get them on paper now.
That's what everybody says, you know, or tell them live, you know. But that's just, you know, I mean, I've it's like a stand-up.
Maybe you need a ghostwriter for that.
Well, they've
not even a ghostwriter.
They've offered that, you know, and I've talked to different people about doing it. But it's me lighting a fire under my own ass to, like, literally, man, I work 12 to 16 hours a day. Mm-hmm. Everybody goes, you can't work 6 days, 7 days a week. I'm like, I do. I will work.
For as long as I've known, you've always done it.
If you've got they sit around and said, so check us out. You have the day off tomorrow. I'm like, it's great. I walked over to the next store and I'm like, hey man, I'm off tomorrow. You got a gig for me? And I literally did. I went over to the next truck and we're going in tomorrow. And it's just like, you know, it's like one of those things. It's like, you know, I thought I was going to get off, you know, go in a little later. Nope, it's an hour earlier. But you know what? I'll take it and I'll do it. But that's just exactly how I am. As soon as they say, you know, you're off tomorrow, I went to a different department. Hey, I'm available.
When's the last time you had a vacation?
I don't take vacations. I hear that all the time. You need a vacation. Nah, I'm not taking a vacation.
When's the last time you took days off and just gone to the beach? I mean 1 or 2 days. I mean,
it's an extended thing. It's got to be
5 days.
It's got to be. Oh hell, who knows? 8 years, 9 years. You know, I think January of 16, 17, I guess, because I remember I went on a Disney cruise with my kids or whatever. But I mean, regrets, maybe. You know, that I didn't go on more. Yeah, but you know what? Somebody had to pay for these cruises that they went on without me, and it just, you know, no, I don't. I can't sit still, and when I do, if I do, even for a day or two, I'm going stir crazy. You know, it's just like I got to do something. But here's the opposite of that too is I sit around and say I've got to do this, and this today, and I don't do anything. If I sit down, I'm down.
Isn't that a beautiful thing though?
No, because the whole time I'm sitting watching TV, going, I really should get up.
You got to frame it differently.
Yeah, I got to spin it different. But it's just like man, and next thing you know, the whole day has passed, and I do that occasionally. I remember there was one time I went from April to October, and I took 1.5 days off in that entire time span. And everybody goes, that's not true. You can't. Yeah, and I did. If I wasn't so we were doing like My Bloody Valentine and something else, and I took half a day off to go with my kids to Kennywood. And then I had 1 day off. I can't remember for what it was, but I had a full day off. But I'll work because I would do the movies, and then I would go to like Star Lake. I'd do like a concert or the Benedict, you know, or theater on all my days off, and that's what I do, you know. And it's just like, you know, if I have a day off, I'm going to go do a rock show because I know somebody, and I'm going to get on, you know, and I might as well work rather than just hang out. And that's what I do, and that's what I've always done, and. You know, I'll admit it. That's how battle my regrets.
That's what I thought.
I bury them in work, so I don't have to think about them.
You heard it here first. All right, but I know you have to get to work
Yeah.
early tomorrow morning. I appreciate you making time.
I'm happy to come in and talk to you. Hey, wait, before we go, my friend and my longtime friend for what, many years now, 23 years, a long time. He got me the greatest gift. And look, we're Boogie Street official
Yeah, man.
ring. So,
Yeah,
I
man.
mean, it's like 25 years of service. You get a ring. There it is.
That's a new thing.
That's a thing right there.
Yeah, I just always wanted a really good ring. And when I tried to do it 15 years ago, things were more expensive back then because of technology. But now I found a company to make really.
You're awesome.
Yeah, it came out great too. Plus, it'd be a great weapon in a bar.
Oh yeah, yeah. If
I mean,
I ever
not
go
that,
back,
not that I would ever need that, but I mean, Fred,
yeah.
I could turn around. It's a good weapon. Too.
I used to use my wedding ring as a bottle opener. I hope she feels it. I'm not going to be opening beer bottles with this one, and Eric's going to be like, oh, like in the middle of the night.
That's all right. That's all right. No, you deserved it, man. I mean,
I
you've
appreciate it.
flown the flag of the idea of Boogie Street forever. In our greatest years and our leanest years, and the story still hasn't been completely written yet.
Well, we'll figure something out. We'll come back up with something.
I think so.
I still got shirts to wear.
Yeah, I got more for you too.
Excellent.
All right, partner.
All right, buddy.
We'll talk to you very soon. There's some panel shows. We have Mr. Cozza and you got to get on a panel show together.
We'll do it.
Both of you are willing. You just got to work the schedules out.
Yeah.
All right. Be careful out there, Frederico.
I'll try to.
We are out. Peace.